Clementine, Clementine, it's your turn, Sarah said. Clementine shook her head out of her thoughts. All right, sorry, Clementine said. She rolled the dice and moved her piece to the property Sarah had. She gave $20 of play money to Sarah, while still being lost in thought. Are you okay? You seem distracted, Sarah said. Clementine said. Sarah, I think I need to get stronger. What do you mean? Sarah asked. I mean that I need to go out there, learn how to solve my own problems with those things and people. Clementine stood up, and then from her seated position. I can't be sitting here playing a game. My guardian Lee lost his life because I was stupid, and now if I die, his sacrifice will be in vain. Her voice got progressively louder as she spoke. I don't understand, Sarah said. She seemed to be almost afraid of her. Why would you want to go deal with those things? They're scary. Clementine huffed to calm down and she said, I have to. I am going back out there. Can we at least finish the game? Sarah asked. Clementine shook her head and said, I'm sorry, but this is very important. She walked away from the teenager as she started to whimper. Clementine felt bad for her, but she knew that she had to do this. After looking around for a while, Clementine found Rebecca. She was talking to Luke and a bigger man. The man seemed very strong, but at the same time he seemed nice. Well, look who's back, Luke said. Rebecca turned around and smiled. Hey, sweetie, do you have fun with Sarah? Clementine nodded and her head in response, with a serious look on her face. What's wrong? Rebecca asked. I can't just stay here and play board games all day. I need to go out there and get stronger, Clementine said. The adults frowned at that. Rebecca crouched down to her eye level and she said, Sweetie, I know it's rough for you out there, but you're safe now. You don't need to do any of that. No, you're wrong. My guardian Lee lost his life because of me, Clementine explained. If I die, his sacrifice will be in vain. Clementine, you don't have to worry about that, all right? Luke said. Look, you're safe here, and there's no immediate threats coming our way. What happens if this place falls? Clementine asked. What if I'm all out here by myself and I don't have a gun? Rebecca stood up, talking to Clementine, as she looked at Luke, the big man. We'll talk about it, Rebecca said. For now, just take it easy. Clementine nodded and she said okay. She was satisfied with the answer given to the adults. Hey! A new voice was heard. Clementine jumped from that shout. She never liked yelling. That's why she was a good kid. She never liked being yelled at, so she did her best to avoid it, being as nice as possible. She turned to see a man with the flannel shirt approach her. You want to explain to me why my daughter is crying? The man exclaimed as he stared Clementine down. Carlos, take it easy on her. She just arrived today, Luke said. I don't care. She made my daughter cry, and instead of apologizing for it, she walked away, the man Carlos said. I'm so sorry, Clementine said as she started to whimper. She was scared. You need to go tell her, not me, Carlos snapped. Carlos! Rebecca snapped while Clementine started to cry. Rebecca squatted down and picked Clementine up. The girl let out a surprised squeak. Shh, it's okay, Rebecca said in a calm and motherly voice. There was a huff from behind. I'm sorry. I just overreacted. I'm just trying to protect Sarah, Carlos said. Yeah, by taking it out on some kid, that makes a whole lot of sense, Rebecca snapped at the man. Honey, the big man said. No, Rebecca said. Clementine felt movement, and she must have shrugged off as a man. You could apologize to her later when I get her to calm down, Rebecca snapped at Carlos. Then she stormed off with Clementine in her arms. Once again, Clementine felt bad. Not only did she make Sarah cry, but now she was driving a wedge between Rebecca and her friends. A half an hour had passed and Rebecca still had Clementine on her lap. The small 9-year-old actually did enjoy being comforted and cuddled with Rebecca. She missed doing it with her own mother. You okay, baby? Rebecca asked as she rubbed the child's back. I'm sorry, Clementine said. I just don't like yelling. I know I'm putting a wedge between you and Carlos. Baby, none of that is your fault, Rebecca said. She released a huff and she said, I'm sorry. I didn't warn you of Carlos. He's been overprotective of Sarah ever since the very beginning. He lost his wife when all this happened. Sarah was devastated when it all happened. In fact, I became a mother figure to her. Sarah's gotten bigger, but she is still afraid of everything. As a result, Carlos has stepped up and started to snap at anyone who gets near her, aside from Alvin, Luke, Reggie, Connie, and Pete. I didn't mean to make her sad. I just wanted to get strong for Lee, Clementine said. I'm sorry, Sarah squeaked. Clementine looked over the teenager who was staring from the doorway. I didn't want my dad to yell at you. I just thought you were going to leave, and well, I'm the only kid around here, and really gets lonely, so I didn't want you to leave. It's okay. I wasn't going to leave permanently. I was just going to go get stronger. I would have been back, Clementine said. Oh, sorry. I thought you were leaving for good, Sarah said. It's okay. There was just a bit of miscommunication, Rebecca said. They could hear footsteps approaching. Sarah turned away as she said, Hey, Dad, Clementine and I are still friends. That's great, sweetie. How about you go to the room and find a board game you two can play? Hey, Carlos said as she reached for the doorway. Clementine curled up into a ball out of fear of the doctor, while Rebecca patted her on the back. It's okay, the woman replied. Sarah ran off to find a board game while Carlos entered the room. Clementine, I'm sorry I yelled at you. That there was some miscommunication from my daughter and I thought you hurt her. Bullies are nothing new for her. She was bullied a lot when she was in school. I thought that you were no different. I won't assume anymore. Clementine relaxed, and she looked up to the man. Did you forgive him, honey? Rebecca asked the child on her lap. Yeah, Clementine said. Good, thank you. If you're going to be my daughter's friend, just be nice to her, Carlos said. I will, Clementine said. She wouldn't help but be afraid of the man. Carlos turned and walked out of the room. Okay, sweetie, how about you go play with Sarah for a little while? Rebecca said. Dinner should be ready soon. You can come and sit next to me and Alvin. He's my husband. You saw him back there with Luke. Okay, he seems nice, Clementine said as she got down from Rebecca's lap. He is. He's got the man with the biggest hearts I know. Kind of funny when you think of it. He's pretty strong looking, but deep down he's just a big old teddy bear, Rebecca said. Clementine nodded and she said, Lee was really nice. I bet he was, Rebecca said. I was his first kid, at least when it came to looking after someone, Clementine said. Really? Any other prior experience? Rebecca asked. Clementine shook her head. Nope, but he really did a good job. I asked him if he would ever like to have kids. He told me that someday he would. He wanted a little girl like me. He sounds like a wonderful person. I'm pretty sure he would be happy to know that you're safe, Rebecca said. Yeah, Clementine said. She was surprised when she noticed that she wasn't as sad as she thought about Lee when she was earlier. In fact, talking about him made her happy. It made her remember the good times with him. I think you're over mourning the process with Lee, Rebecca said. Yeah, I hope so, Clementine said. Only time will tell. If you ever need someone to talk to, you can come over to me, okay? Rebecca said. Okay, Clementine said with a smile. All right, go play with Sarah, Rebecca said. Clementine nodded before she ran to the door, and then she left the room to go find Sarah. Zeke was at front with the small group. It had taken him a while to adjust having people around him, but after a couple of hours he was comfortable around Krista and Omid. Krista had spent the last 2 hours crying over Clementine's disappearance. Her attitude was not much better. She was tense and angry. It's my fault. I should have gone with them, Krista said. If I had, we could have gotten Clementine back together. She would be right here with us. Krista, we did the best we could, Omid said. Lee was lucky he got through that herd. Herd? Zeke asked. Yeah, Lee was bit. But somehow he cut through a path that was part of the herd in Savannah, Omid said. Zeke's eyes widened, and he said, Incredible. Yeah, not sure how he did it, Omid said. But somehow he did. Otherwise we wouldn't have a trail to follow, Krista said. So how long have you been on your own? 3 weeks, Zeke said. I guess your parents didn't look after you? Omid asked. Zeke scoffed and said, No, not sure what happened to Mom. Probably got her face chewed off. I killed my dad. Both adults were disturbed by how the boy acted. It's like he didn't care about them either. Why would you kill your dad? Was he a walker? Krista asked. Like, as a walker? Nope, he was an asshole. and I wanted him to die, Zeke said. Damn, what did he do to make you go over the edge and literally kill him? Omid asked. Zeke sighed and he said, he was about to hurt someone I cared about. He wasn't my dad. He was just some drunkard who appeared to happen to live with me. He would beat me on every day and swear at me, just all sorts of shit. I have left no remorse after what he did. Hell, I wish I could have done it sooner. Zeke turned to both adults that were surprised by his actions. He huffed and said, Come on, we better set up camp. It'll be dark soon. Yeah, okay, Omid said. Clementine was sitting between Rebecca and Alvin. She really liked Rebecca, and Alvin seemed nice enough. How is it? Alvin asked. Really good, Clementine said. She ate her food. She hadn't eaten anything like this in a long time. She was used to eating a granola bar and some raisins for her meal of the day. She was used to food scraps, not a whole meal. Clementine continued to eat, while the group socialized around her. It felt like almost as if the walkers never existed. She hadn't been around company like this in ages. Hey, Bill wants to see you, a man approached Clementine. Clementine was nervous, but she got up anyway. Maybe I should, Luke started to say, but the man interrupted him. Maybe you should shut your fucking mouth, the man snapped. He looked back at Clementine and said, Come on, don't piss me off. Troy, another man snapped. He seemed rather intimidated. The hell are you doing? Getting her like Bill said. They're making it difficult, Troy said. And that means you could start throwing a fit and make a scene? The man inquired. Troy growled as he looked down. That's what I thought. Stupid jackass. Now get her up to Bill before you screw up that too. He turned around and stomped away. Son of a bitch, Troy muttered. Come on, he snapped at Clementine. Clementine followed Troy up to Bill's office. She didn't like being around him. He was a short-tempered man and mean and swore like a sailor. They went to the office. It seemed rather organized. Bill sat behind a desk as he gestured Clementine to sit in one of his chairs. Hello, Clementine, Bill said. Have a seat. Clementine walked over down to the chair in front of Carver's desk. So I heard you wanted to go out there and get stronger. Is that right? Bill said. Yes, someone saved my life, but it cost him his life of his own. If I die, his sacrifice would be in vain. I have to learn more on survival, and the only way to do that is by, Clementine said, as she trailed off. By hands-on approach? Bill said. I see. Very well. Luke will be allowed to go out there with you along with Tyler, who will track down your progress. Why would you want to track down my progress? Clementine asked. Hey, didn't you two just shut up and do what he tells you? Troy snapped at Clementine. It made the girl jump a bit. Bill made a gesture for him to calm down. The child's curious, Troy. Nothing wrong with that. Now, I don't want to hear any more outbursts from you, Bill said. There was no reply from Troy. He turned back to Clementine and said, I keep records on everything, and if I hear there's a new settlement developing near mine, well, you better believe that I would send someone to go check it out. And if there was someone in these walls who said they can improve our way of living on take or innovator on their own, I would send someone to keep an eye on them. As leader, it's my job to know what everyone else is doing in these walls to make sure no immediate threats are out there. I guess I can understand that, Clementine said. Good, we're done for now. You can go and rejoin Luke and his friends, Bill said. Clementine nodded and stood up from the chair. She walked out of the office while feeling Bill's gaze on her. As always, she didn't feel very comfortable with him watching over her. She then walked down the stairs of the office and walked back over to the group. Hey, you alright? Luke asked. Yeah, he just wanted to talk to me about training tomorrow, Clementine said. Training? Connie asked. Yeah, I want to learn now how to defend myself better when I'm out there, Clementine said. Connie's eyes widened and said, No way, absolutely not. You're not going back out there. Con, this is her decision. You can't force her to stay in here, Pete said. I'm an adult. She has no choice but to listen to me, Connie said. I have to get stronger. If I don't, I let everyone in my old group down. They're all either dead or missing, Clementine explained. You're just a child. You shouldn't have to do this, Connie said. There's a lot of things I shouldn't be doing, but I have to. It's just one of those things, Clementine stated. Don't worry, I'll help her tomorrow, Luke said. Okay, Connie said in a defeated tone of voice. Clementine went back to eating her dinner as she listened to more of the conversations amongst the group members. They seemed to be more tightly knit at their old group. Of course, their old group fought constantly because of conditions they were in. This group made it very made since they were in a strong community with plenty of resources. As the conversations continued, she even smiled a couple of times.